Welcome to episode 26 of Michael Reads from a Book, the vlog where it does what it says on the tin. And today we're going to be looking at a book that also does what it says on the tin, Italo Calvino's The Baron in the Tree. Sorry, that's trees. A baron in a single tree would just be silly. It was on the 15th of June, 1767, that Cosimo Piovasco de Rondo, my brother, sat among us for the first time. And it might have been today, I remember it so clearly. We were in the dining room at our house at Ombrosa, the windows framing the thick branches of the great holm oak tree in the park. It was midday, the old traditional dinner hour, followed by our family, though by then most nobles had taken to the fashion set by the sluggard court of France, of dining halfway through the afternoon. A breeze was blowing from the sea, I remember, rustling the leaves. Cosimo said, "I told you I don't want any, and I don't," and pushed away his plateful of snails. Never had we seen such disobedience. At the head of the table was Baron Ermino Piovasco de Rondo, our father, wearing a long wig over his ears in the style of Louis XIV, unfashionable like so much else about him. Between me and my brother was the Abbé Flochefleu, the family almoner and the tutor of us two boys. We were facing our mother, the Baroness Corradina de Rondo, nicknamed the Generalessa, and our sister Battista, a kind of stay-at-home nun. At the other end of the table, opposite our father, sat, dressed in Turkish robes, the Cavalier Avocado Enier Silvio Careja, lawyer, administrator, and waterworks supervisor of our estates, and our natural uncle, being the illegitimate brother of our father. A few months before, Cosimo having reached the age of 12 and I of 8, we had been admitted to the parental board. I had benefited by my brother's promotion and been moved up prematurely so that I should not be left to eat alone. Benefited is perhaps scarcely the word, for it really meant the end of our carefree life, Cosimo's and mine, and we were homesick for the meals in our little room, alone with the Abbé Flochefleu. The Abbé was a dry, wrinkled old man with a reputation as a Jansenist, and he had, in fact, escaped from his native land, the Dauphiné, to avoid trial by the Inquisition. But the rigor of character for which he was often praised, the severe mental discipline that he had imposed on himself and others, was apt to yield a deep-rooted urge towards apathy and indolence, as if his long meditations, with eyes staring into space, had brought on him a great weariness and boredom, and in every little difficulty now he had come to see a fate not worth opposing. Our meals in the Abbé's company used to begin, after many a prayer, with ordered ritual, silent movement of spoons, and woe to anyone who raised his eyes from his plate, or made the slightest sucking sound with the soup. But by the end of the first dish the Abbé was already tired, bored, looking into space and smacking his lips at every sip of wine, as if only the most fleeting and superficial sensations could get through to him. By the main dishes we were using our hands, and by the end of the meals we were throwing pear-cores at each other, while the Abbé every now and then again let out one of his languid "Oui, ben, we're lost." Now at the table with the family, up surged the intimate grudges that are a burden of childhood. Having our father and mother always there in front of us, using knives and forks for the chicken, keeping our backs straight and our elbows down, what a strain it was, not to mention the presence of that odious sister of ours, Battista. So began a series of scenes, spiteful exchanges, punishments, retaliations, until the day when Cosimo refused the snails and decided to separate his fate from ours. I think that's a good place to leave off. It's a bit of an odd book, obviously, since it's about a guy that dedicates his life to living entirely in a tree. It's a little less complicated, I guess, than most Calvino stuff I've read. I mean, it's no If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, but it's got, I think it's edging towards something about 18th century philosophy and nobility and so forth, so I'm about halfway, 2/3 through. We'll see what happens. Alright, see you next time.